Hi, my name is Alyssa and I recently moved to Germany. Super exciting. Um, I just wanted to give out some helpful tips that would have helped me if I were moving to Germany. I am from the United States and I moved here a couple months ago and I moved here as a student. I'm doing a master's program. So let's get started. My first tip, on the first day you get here, I would get out into the city and do whatever you need to do. I think it's a great way to get rid of the jitters from the first day, and I personally went out with my roommates, which was very helpful because we all were coming from different countries and exploring the city together and just getting groceries because obviously you need to eat. And it's also a great way to look around and know what's around you, especially since you are going to be living there. Secondly, get familiar with the transportation, especially the ones you'll be using every day, like the buses and the trains. And if you can, try to see if there's a ticket you can use, like the Deutschland ticket. I personally get a student Deutschland ticket, and it's only 29 euros a month for all the transportation I could want throughout Germany. There are other options. There's just like the plain Deutschland ticket, that's 49 euros a month. So I would make sure to look into this and try to do it before you leave. I personally didn't do it until I got here, which could have saved me money my first day, but now you know. Next step is city registration. This is important because you need to register with the city within 2 weeks of moving into your apartment or house. And this is a form your landlord will give you, and you just have to bring it to the appointment, and it's super easy. You just search online for your city and the registration office, and you go in and you just answer a couple questions and you bring your passport and this form and you're registered with the city. So it's super easy. Next step is your bank account. So I personally used Wise when I was first coming here as more of like a transitional bank account because I was able to have an IBAN number to pay my rent when I first got here. If you're gonna skip this step and might not need it, I am now using Bunk as my German bank account, which can be an issue in some places that don't accept this type of card. That's the only downside I've seen to it, but I personally use cash almost everywhere I go. Not that you need to, I just prefer it. All right, next step is getting a phone number. And this originally took me a while to use because I tried to use Vodafone, and for some reason it was not working at all. I was completely confused. And my friend told me about Aldi Talk, which is, Aldi, the grocery store. They have phone plans available, and all you do is go in and you get the beginner package. It's like 15 euros for the beginner package, but then every month you can choose your own plan after that. So this was super easy because you just had to buy it in the store, and then you could go home and fill it out online and get your phone number from there, and it works out great. I also get data in other countries in the European Union specifically, I believe. When I went back to the US, that sucked because I had no data at all, but I relied on my friends and family. All right, now health insurance. This one depends on a lot of different things. If you are a student like me, I needed a blocked account, so I used Expatrio, and through that I got my health insurance, which is around 120 euros a month. I am also between the ages to get it, so I'm between 22 to 30, but if you're over 30, you will not be able to apply for this, and you will need to get private health insurance. This one's more difficult, but I personally chose Expatrio because it was easy and seemed somewhat affordable. All right, finally, the residence permit. It's just honestly a really difficult process for me trying to figure out which steps I needed to go through first before applying. But once I got everything together, it was really simple, honestly. It does depend on the country and how soon you actually want to get your residence permit. I am from the US, so I have a 3-month stay here, so I needed to get it within that time. So I was able to travel back to the US and then come back into Germany. So I got it right away, and since I live in a small town, I was able to get my residence permit within a month of me applying for it. However, if you live in a bigger city like Nuremberg or Munich or Berlin, like any of those huge cities, it takes a while, and some of my friends who live in those cities, it took months for them to get it, and they were not able to leave to the US and then to come back. So that is something to keep in mind if you plan on going back relatively early. Also, if you're from another country, you might have had to already apply for a visa, which lasts like about a year anyway. And through the visa, you are able to go to other European countries. So you might want to wait on the residence permit because you won't need it necessarily depending on what you're doing here. There is a fee for the residence permit, so instead of having to pay that fee, you might want to wait a bit to do it. If you are a student like me and you need a blocked account to live here and show that you can afford to live here and you're applying for your residence permit, there's two things you can do. The first one is which I did, and I only applied for 1 year, so I only had a year amount of money in my blocked account, and that only means I am only able to get my residence permit for 1 year and I would have to renew it next year. However, if you have money to afford to have a blocked account for 2 years, then you can put all that money in and you are usually able to get your residence permit for the 2 years that you're here. And I think that covered about everything, at least that I know, but if you have any questions, please put them in the comments and I'll try to answer them to the best of my abilities. I hope these tips helped you out because I kept looking for a full list of what I should do before moving here, and there was a lot of mixed results and it was not very clear. And this does obviously depend on where you are living and where you are moving to, so just keep that in mind when you're watching this video. But I hope you enjoyed it and I hope it will help you in the future. And welcome to Germany.